You're on mute again, Josh.
Fucking muted again. How many times did I get doing this?
You know what? I thought you were playing up for a second, man.
Mate, I promise you guys, I joined these lot backstage, yeah, I'm muted straight away. And then you had Dom trying to like do that to Rory. but guys, that's twice. Rookie era people. I've been doing this for about 3 years now. I can't even unmute myself. But yes, welcome back, guys. We're here, another podcast. Hope everyone's doing well. Thank you guys for joining us today. Listen, we got Dom with us. We got Rory. I think Cooper will be joining us a bit later on. But listen, guys, how's your weekend? There's no Arsenal, so I'm sure you guys have a very calm weekend, huh?
Yeah. It was calm, right? I mean, I am a bit worried that with this jumper on, I look like I'm in Belmarsh or something. But other than that,
that said Belmarsh.
You know, but just in case anyone wonders, I have not been detained by the authorities.
But yeah, I mean, it was pretty chill weekend, right? You know, no Arsenal to really ruin it. So
correction, Fulham, who are Arsenal B, played.
Oh yeah, the BTEC Arsenal, yeah, exactly.
The ladies gave it a go, didn't they? God, blimey, that was a
what a game that was! Mate. Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, and the under-18s as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was good to watch other, like, apart from the men's team, you know what I mean? It was good to watch the youth play. I mean, I don't know if Rory, you was with me doing the watch, Dom, but I don't know if you caught a bit of that game, Dom, the under-18s. But Max Dowman guy, the 15-year-old, lots of hype around his name. He oh my days, what a performance!
I saw the highlights and what have you. That pass, like where he took about 8 Manchester United players out with one ball, was just unreal.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's a shame the rules mean that he can't, play for the first team now. But, I mean, that said, though, there's a big difference between under 21s and under 18s football and men's first team football, to be fair. But he looks a real talent. Arsenal need to do all they can to keep hold of him, but youth players and keeping hold of him is very, very difficult. Like, very difficult. It's all about the pathway. Is it the right, and there's a clear pathway to the first team, right, from Arsenal now, right? But not necessarily in the right position. It needs to be the right position, right time, right manager, are the wages right to keep them there? There's so many things, you can lose so many players at that level, but hopefully Max Dowman makes through to the first team and sort of follows Wanyeri rather than sort of Obi Martins.
100%. Yeah, 100% agreed there. But so obviously today we were talking about a bit of news about our new sporting director. I'm sure Dom and Rory both made the videos on it about obviously Berta coming in, Atletico Madrid director, former Atletico Madrid, I should say. So we're going to talk about that. Obviously, massive game as well tomorrow. Champions League's back against PSV in around the 16, the knockout stages. It's where it gets a bit serious now. And, we do go away to Eindhoven tomorrow. So, yeah, guys, make sure you get your thoughts in. Big up the chat. I'm just going to quickly say big up to everyone. Tamina, Jordan, Burnley. You got Dom himself in the building. We've got Drew in the building. We've got Jacob as well. Red Army. Big up Red Army. And, make sure you guys leave your comments down below as well. Get your thoughts in. Get some questions in, as always. Thanks for all the support. But, yeah, let's get into it, man. Let's start, obviously, with the news that's recently broke the past couple of days. I think this whole director news has been heating up recently. We had Ornstein came out and said, I think a few days ago, about some potential replacements for Edu, likes of Oli Arby from Sociedad, Dan Ashworth, this guy who we now look like he's leading the race in Berta from Atletico Madrid. I think that Monaco guy was linked as well. That
Scaraccio. Yes. Yeah, that's not quite right either, but him.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name
from Monaco and. Yeah, so many, were obviously linked.
I'm laughing because when I did the list for Ornstein, I had to write it down because I couldn't remember the Monaco guy's name. Doesn't matter. Every time I tried to remember the list, it was him I left out. Every time I was like, I'm going to have to write his name down. Like when I do videos, I might jot down the odd stat, but nothing more. There'll be like at most through 20 words written down at most for every video. Yeah, that was one for that one because I could not remember the bloody guy's name.
Yeah, real talk. But yeah, he was in the list as well. But it looking like, Fabrizio coming out and saying today that we're in advanced talks to get this Berta guy from Atletico Madrid. And yeah, early signs of it, guys. I'm actually looking forward to him coming in. Just looking of what he's done. I mean, he's been there 12 years, isn't it? 2013, he was at, he first got appointed as, with Atletico. I think he's Italian, from Parma and Genoa as well. So he had his early sort of career there. And then Atletico, he's been there. You've seen what he's done there. They've been a very successful club, man. Working with Simeone as well. I mean, we know how egotistical Simeone is. So the fact that he's had a great relationship with him, I think he's got to be one of the most egotistical managers in terms of like his mentality and how to deal with that type of person. The fact that he's worked with him and being successful with him, I think that's a good sign there. Because I think there's a lot of talk about, this whole yes man going around. We don't need any more yes man. We need, directors to challenge Arteta. So maybe this could be that guy, man. I think he's got a few run though, guys. Like, I say run, but some bold signings, like the Joao Felix one. Look how much money they spent on Joao Felix. The Thomas Lemar one as well. But on the flip side of that, at the time, guys, everyone wanted these players. Like, we wanted Thomas Lemar.
Yeah.
Barcelona and Real Madrid wanted Joao Felix as well. So he beat those clubs to it, and he wasn't afraid to splash the money. So when we're talking about players like Isak in the summer, and there's lots of clubs in for these players, I think maybe this guy's showing already that he can do it. For these other players, for example, I think he can do the same maybe for us. So honestly, I'm pretty excited for this guy coming in. But I'll start with you, Rory, first and foremost. What do you make of this whole news? I mean, are you happy with this news? This Berta guy coming in to Arsenal as the new director?
Yeah, I can't lie. It kind of came as like a shock to me because I didn't expect him to be like the number one candidate for Arsenal, especially with the names that like were reported by Ornstein. Obviously, A2, Dan Ashworth. Again, I've forgotten the Monaco's keeper's name.
I'll look him up, Rory. I'll look him up. You carry on.
And Alabe, obviously. And I think with Berta, right, with his experience, all I care about is just someone with a CV, someone who can actually negotiate deals and can actually take some power off Mikel Arteta, if you know what I mean, because he's pretty much got full power with the club at the moment. So we kind of need someone to come in and sort of space jam his power. Yes, Dom?
Thiago Scura. That's his name.
Thiago Scura. Right, got it.
Carry on.
But yeah, I think out of the names I've just listed, I think Berta is the best out of the lot. Okay. I don't really want A2, obviously. I don't want what's his name? Answorth. Is that his name? Dan Answorth?
Dan Ashworth.
I
mean, Dan Ashworth's done a decent job where he's gone by and large. It was a car crash, but he was barely there 2 minutes. But I think he's one of those ones that takes a Europa League side to Premier League or mid-table side to. He's never done it with a top side. That would be my concern about Dan Ashworth rather than.
Yeah, but when he did it at a top side in Man United, I know I don't really consider them as a top 6 side at the moment, but yeah, he went to Man United, attempted to appoint bloody Southgate, and then splashed 100 million on Anthony.
Yeah,
so I don't really want
Southgate. Yeah.
Anthony was pre him, to be fair.
Yeah, but 100 million on that geezer. Like,
yeah, but that wasn't him. To be clear, like I mean, Dan Ashworth was at Manchester United about less than a hiccup. But I mean, your point stands, right? He's never done it at a top club, right?
Yeah,
he's never had the chance to either. To be fair, Newcastle probably the closest he came.
Yeah, and then Alabe I would have taken, but obviously you can't. He can't obviously take charge until 1st of June now. So I think with Berta, right, this is a good opportunity for him to actually come in now and sort of settle in. Because let's be honest, this window is massive and we need the best possible director out there to get the job done because we've got contract situations on the table that we've got to sort out, as well as 6 or 7 positions that we've got to address. So this is huge for me, and this is how a proper football club should be run. We should be going for the best owners. We should be going for the best manager. This is how we should be run as a football club. It's nice to finally praise the club for something, at least, because I've been really cheesed off with what I'm seeing so far this season. And I think with Berta coming in, I think it'll be a solid appointment, especially when Arteta, I look at his playing style and it's very like pragmatic. And with Berta, right, I've noticed he does have qualities when it comes to building like almost structuring, if that's a word, a really good squad. So I think he could come in and do a brilliant job. It's not done yet, obviously, but if he does come in, I'll be happy with it, especially with the trophies he has won. I mean, I kind of look at the signings he's made. For instance, Felix for 120 million, Lamar for 70. You can wind it back to when he signed Diego Costa as well for 60 odd million. Julian Alvarez for 60 odd million. I kind of look at them signings, regardless of whether they've worked out or not. I've kind of put a positive spin on it, and the fact he's actually got big deals over the line, because that's not really down to him. Like, he's still like Felix at the time at Benfica was quality, and Atletico Madrid snapped him up. But I reckon it was down to the way Simeone was utilising him. It's the
I've
same
got a quick question for you. Oh, sorry, Rory. I've got a quick question.
Go on.
And it's a bit of a joke question, but what's bigger? You mentioned this, how big this transfer window is right this summer for Arsenal. What do you reckon's bigger, Simeone's ego or this window for Arsenal coming up? It's been bugging me for about 10 minutes. I couldn't keep it in any longer.
Bring him in and we'll find out.
Is that a rhetorical question or what?
I just couldn't keep it in any longer. It's lonely in Belmarsh.
Oh, Neil. But yeah, like the players he signed for big money, I take that as a positive. Like, let's say we had Berta back in January and Ollie Watkins was on the table. There's no way he would have bidded 40 million for him.
No way.
No way. So I think the ability to get big deals over the line is something I really like. I'm like big players as well. It's just hopefully the Cronkies give him money, or else this appointment is just pointless, because there's a different golfing class between Arsenal's ownership and Atletico's. They actually give him the funds to spend, whereas at Arsenal, if you don't give him the money, then we all know he is ruthless with him knocking horns with Diego Simeone for years. So I think with Berta coming in, I completely go along with the decision. I think it makes sense, especially when Arteta has played in La Liga before, Barcelona, Real Sociedad. So bringing Berta from Atletico Madrid, although he's form, you know what I'm saying? He was the Atletico Madrid sporting director. He's now available, but the last job he was in as a sporting director was at Atletico Madrid. So it does make perfect sense in my opinion.
He's on gardening leave.
Yeah, and one last thing I want to touch on is with the Thomas Partey situation and his contract expiring. If Berta was going to come in later on this month, like before the summer window eventually opens, could Thomas Partey extend his deal? With obviously speculation of him not signing a deal after today. If Berta was going to come in, obviously we're forgetting he actually sold Rodri before he ended up selling Thomas Partey, because Partey was that instrumental to Atletico Madrid. Obviously, they didn't really get his contract situation sorted because he had a £45 million release clause. So with him getting rid of Rodri before he eventually got rid of Thomas Partey, and the fact Atletico played Partey over Rodri for most part, do you reckon Partey could actually extend his deal if Berta was actually going to come in?
Just really quickly, Rory, both players, sorry, just for matter of fact, and apologies to contradict slightly, both players had their release clauses triggered by buying clubs. So City triggered Rodri's release clause too.
Oh, did they?
So you're right, he was sold first, but I wonder if he had the choice whether it was. But I think your question still stands on Thomas Partey. Does that relationship help get a new contract if that's what Arsenal want to do.
Yeah.
Sorry to contradict you there.
Yeah,
but
no, I'm done. Pretty much. I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that, with this Berta guy, like, I noticed as well, he loves like these experienced type players. Like, you saw it with even when they signed Luis Suarez, like from Barcelona, and like, look at the job that he did with Atletico as well. I think he won them. He came in, he won them when they won the league that season.
Yeah, even Kieran Trippier as well.
Yeah, Trippier. They signed. I mean, he brought back Griezmann as well from when he went to Barcelona, and Griezmann was like 28, weren't he? So, and he's still there now. So,
and an aging 28 as well at that point.
Yeah. So listen, like he can sign these experienced players, which is really good to see. But we got Cooper with us as well, man. Cooper, how you doing, my friend? You okay?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Yes, I'm very well, bro. I'm very well. How's your weekend, Cooper? There's no Arsenal.
It was great.
Yeah.
I mean, the women's game was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was, bro.
Like that was pretty cool. So that was good.
Napoli as well.
Napoli, yeah, we saved ourselves.
Philip Billin.
Billy, I know. He was crazy. It was just exciting. That was a really good football match. But it's good to see you again, Dom. Rory, as usual.
Good
Josh,
to see you
of course.
too, mate.
It's been a while. I even look at.
I spotted it instantly.
I know I'm wearing American football stuff. I didn't. All my Arsenal stuff is down in the laundry.
I'm looking forward to us messing up the draft in a few months' time.
I will. We should definitely be on together when we do that because it's guaranteed. But yeah, I don't know anything about this sporting director except from what I've, but I saw a little bit, but he's signed.
No, it's very close though, very close. It's in advanced talks, whatever that means.
Look at man, we were in
It means
talks.
barring a disaster, it should be happening, right? I mean,
right. We were in serious talks with Marino back in June, right? So I'll believe it when I see it. But he sounds like he's amazing. The list of players you were saying he signed is
Yeah,
and he's give him a year, and then he'll bring Simeone in, and he'll be headbutting players, and really get us moving.
Yeah, I mean, no, you are right. He has some good players, man. Like at Atletico, I think he even signed All Black as well. Like, who's a top class. He bought him for like 30 million from Benfica. And look at him now. He's been there many years. Really good goalkeeper, I think. So, yeah, I mean, he signed Rodri as well from Villarreal. I'm pretty sure that they got him from.
He did. I mean, if all of these players were under 20 million euros, which were Rodri, Jan Oblak, Diego Jota.
Oblak's another one.
Yeah, he bought all of them. And I think when you look at his record in with Atletico, yes, he's had some misses. But he's also had some big hits. But find me a sporting director that doesn't have any misses on their records. I challenge you. I mean, there isn't one, right?
Yeah.
Unless they've had one transfer window and got lucky, right? I mean, experienced director of footballs do not have the perfect signing. There are so many things that can go wrong. Either it looks like the right fit and it turns out they're not, or the personality doesn't quite work out, or they get a horrid injury, or so many things can go wrong. So yeah, I think Rory was spot on earlier when he said, yes, although some of those big signings haven't worked out, there are other factors behind that, and sometimes it just doesn't work out, but at least he can get big deals done. What I would say is Arsenal have shown they can get big deals done as well. Declan Rice is an example of that, but his experience in the game shows where Arsenal are looking to go now, that we've got to the point where we can hire these big names. Would he have come here 5 to 6 years ago? I very, very much doubt it. And I think that shows where we have gone to. What we now need to do is make sure that signings like this, and this is obviously behind the scenes, but this goes for on the field, do get us over the line. I think we can get over the line. I'm I'm quite bullish on that still. Not obviously this year, but I think Arsenal are there and well placed and well run. And I think I've spoken about the PSR situation this season. It has been much tighter. That will ease this summer. No question. We had the good. We'll have a good financial year this year. Got 3 years of Champions League football. Arsenal are well placed to spend money this summer, and you don't bring in a new director of football. When you bring in a new director of football, you have to make sure they succeed, particularly in that first summer. I think the Conkeys want to win. I know some people disagree with that, but I think they do want to win, and they have.
I think they do
put money
too.
into this. And they have put money into this project. Let's be really clear on that.
Yeah.
And I've done the numbers repeatedly on this summer and this season, and it has been tight, but that does disappear. I think we've got about 200 million in headroom this summer, which is a heck of a lot. That doesn't mean we'll spend 200 million, because the Conkeys also want the club to be self-sustaining, which I think is probably right. But we do have the headroom this summer. With a new director of football, you have to make it work, and I think that all points to a big summer signing. Does that mean we'll get every target? No, because you very rarely get every single target. But that's there, and I think Josh spoke. Not Josh, you are Josh. Rory spoke very eloquently about the signings he made, and I agree fully with that. I think he showed he can buy those low to mid-level signings, and they are really crucial and fundamental to building a squad. He's shown that he can get the big names over the line. He's got experience. He can stand up to big character managers, and Arteta is one, but Diego Simeone is also one. Everyone hates Diego Simeone unless he's your manager, and it's probably very similar, to several others, right? And I think that's really important. I do also think that Edu stood up. There's lots of reports around that Edu has stood up to Arteta, and they had blazing rows, and that's what you want, right? What you want is your director of football and your manager to get on, to work together and share roughly the same vision, but to be able to challenge each other. And I think this guy clearly shows that he can also challenge the manager, and that is really important. There. So I think overall this is a good appointment, and I also think, and again, Rory mentioned this. The fact he can start now is a really, really good appointment. I was a big Olave fan, right? I think that helps with Martin Zubimendi. I think he's done really good things at Sociedad. The big downside I had with him was he can't start till June or July, whenever his contract his gardening leave runs out. It's almost too late. This guy being able to start now, I think, is a real positive, and I think this is a really good move for Arsenal. It doesn't mean it will succeed, right? You can get in top people sometimes, and it just doesn't work out. But all the signs say this should work out. And if this doesn't work out, I'm not really going to criticise the club overly. They put a lot of effort into this. He's a big name. He's got a good reputation. He's got a good track record. And also the fact that Arsenal are fairly similar in style to Atletico should mean that that's a good fit. Obviously, the focus is on attack now, but because we've built the sort of defensive side of the game. But that all points to me that he is someone that Arsenal can move forward with quite strongly, and I think this, if it happens, and I think it will, is a really good appointment from Arsenal.
Yeah. Also worth mentioning that he was actually a scout before he eventually became a sporting director.
Yeah,
someone knows what to look for.
So this is what I rate: talent, ID, or IQ, whichever one.
I mean, I think Jason Ito has an ability to identify talent. I think he's demonstrated that. What he doesn't have an ability, hasn't been able to show, is can he get deals over the line? And that's why apart from the fact I hold him responsible mostly for January, means you can't appoint him. But we're not at the point now where you can have someone that is learning on the job, right? Would we appoint Mikel Arteta now with where we are? No, of course we wouldn't. We did 5 years ago because we weren't where we wanted to be, and therefore you're looking at things differently. And that's why Jason Ito, for all those reasons, shouldn't be there, because, as you say, Rory, he has never got a track record of getting things done. This guy does. He also started as a businessman as well, by the way. And I think Arsenal continue to be good negotiators. Yes, they might take a while, but they negotiate good price, and that's important when you're doing transfer window, because if you just pay the money, right, then you get that reputation, you end up paying more going forward for our future players. But secondly, you limit your ability. Well, I would argue we've got players, generally speaking, below value. There are a few exceptions to that, but we've genuinely got good prices for players. But Chelsea and Manchester United consistently massively overpay for players, and the reason they do that is because they got a reputation as just paying. You say 50 million, they say 45. You say, oh, it's 55, and they go, okay. Obviously that's not real, but you know what I mean. And then it limits your ability to spend more in the market because you've got less money available. So the fact he's a shrewd negotiator, having started off as a businessman as well as exactly what Rory just said, I think, makes him an ideal candidate. Arsenal tough to negotiate with, get a good deal, can spot talent well, can get a deal done. All of those things tick boxes. I think this is a really solid appointment on paper, and we'll see what happens. But if this happened, I can't fault the club for it. The only thing I would fault for him is possibly that it's taken 6 months. Could it have been done a bit quicker? But it's important to get the right deal done as well.
Yeah, most definitely, man.
He's recently turned down
AC Milan.
AC
Milan, right?
Or AC Milan pulled out. It depends on which version but either way, he's not going to AC Milan.
Right. So he's made his choice. And I read an article where he's learning English.
That's true. Yeah.
He's in London, I think, as well. It's one in London.
It's about time we have that Italian nous in this club. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it may not sound like an Italian name, but if he's Italian, then.
By the way, I want to actually comment on that picture that Josh showed earlier, which showed Jason Ito walking into what used to be London Colney, but is now the Realty Centre. But speaking of Italian, didn't this look like a mafia, rat about to be taken out?
It did.
You're right.
It's there was like one guy ahead and two guys in the back.
Yeah. Jason Ito's ahead and Richard Garlick. And Josh Kroenke behind. Yeah, keep walking. And it looks such a
We'll tell you when to stop.
Yeah, it looks like he's walking into the woods, right? Like something out of Goodfellas or something like that. I really hope you've got the picture now. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you talk to the feds.
Just keep walking.
That's quality, to be fair. Yeah, that's interesting how Josh was there today though at training. I mean, that's got to be with connection with this story.
I would have thought.
It's almost a jump scare seeing Jason Ito, because that guy's hardly on Google, fam.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever seen him on Google before?
Nah. I didn't know what he looked like until the end of the window, mate, to be honest with you. So there we go.
I had to look him up and then double check that was the right Jason Ito and there wasn't like another one somewhere before I used his picture in a video. Whereas normally you go, yeah, that's him.
Yeah, there we go. Well, was there any other directors that you guys wanted? Like, if you guys had a preference, really, or you don't
probably really Luis Campos, at PSG.
I said the same, yeah.
Yeah, I think he would have been my number one choice, but Berta as like a second choice if that doesn't work out. But at the same time, Berta's a no-brainer because he's available.
Yeah, right now.
Whereas Campos, you've got to pay like millions to sway him away from PSG. Like, I don't know.
I would have been okay with Campos as well. I think since he sort of changed tack from the Galacticos approach, which I just don't think works, generally speaking, to sort of more the model now, unless PSG are struggling slightly. But I think you can sort of see the sense in what he's doing there. But I agree, you'd have to pay to get him away, which is fine. But again, it detracts from what you can do elsewhere. Alabe was the other one I was interested in. I think he's done a really good job at Sociedad. But that's the level we're now operating at, which I think is a really good thing. It's a good thing we're getting it.
I was hearing something though that apparently he started to lose the fans.
Who?
Alabe.
Really?
Real Sociedad. Apparently, Real Sociedad fans were slowly starting to turn on him towards the end of his tenure. So,
is that because they've got to the point where they were selling their players because obviously Sociedad couldn't?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah,
that's the only flaw with Alabe, I think.
Well, I think
can they buy back Marino?
I'm not going to.
I don't want to. I mean, I know he's our starting number 9 now. But
I mean, I was going to say Moreno's he's going to become the squad player, right? And that's what he was always probably going to be. Like, he was one of those ones you can't get your top target, so you go down your list, right? But I mean, I think the thing with Sociedad sort of turning on Alabe, I think that just comes because some clubs have a ceiling, right? That they're not going to be able to get beyond because they don't have the fan base, they don't have the revenue, and particularly in Spain, with where the finances work, that you negotiate your own deals. Like you're going to be limited, and it gets to the point where you've got so many good players that have moved beyond you, and you can't continue to match their ambition because financially you haven't got it. So I think if that's the reason you're turning on Olave, then I'm kind of like, that's all right. Like that's sort of, the law of the jungle, right? He's become bigger than you. The players that he's selling are becoming bigger than you, and that kind of is what it is. And Sociedad are a good club, but they're not. They're never going to be able to compete with Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico. Even like Sevilla or that sort of level. They're just not there. I just don't think they are. I mean, I could be wrong, but
no, you're right, man.
I trust you.
I think it was rare for them to get UCL football last season they got it.
Yeah, and I think that's credit to him and to the manager, and
Yeah.
and it's important to them working together. And I think that's the way I'd look at Larbe rather than the other way around.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm just happy that we have, like, from what you guys are saying, like, this guy is, I know more, NFL coaches and, that type of stuff who I'd rather like, to lead the Giants. And so a lot of this stuff, like I don't know much about sporting directors except from what you guys have told me, but if he's somebody who can better than Edu and is, internationally known and who can do big deals and get things done and doesn't take, 3 months to sign somebody, I'm all for it.
Let me put it this way for you, Cooper. He's more Harry Roseman than Joe Shane.
Okay.
I mean, I think the other thing is that some deals do take time, right? And some
obviously
got some deals done quickly. We got some deals done slowly. That will always happen. I think that Edu generally did a good job at the club overall, but I think him moving on is not the end of the world for us, right? Because I think you've got these sort of we're now, as I say, we're at a level where you can bring in big name replacements, right? And I think he did a good job overall. He wanted to move on to something bigger because of a job he did at Arsenal, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Josh has either got a sad face or he's got some kind of weird emoji. I'm not quite sure what that is or initials.
Coma, there's no true Gooner.
Oh dear me! And it's not. He can't even blame the internet now, right? But there we go.
People are calling him Joshua.
Luca call Mambo number 5.
Very quickly, I just want to say hi to Mel, someone I've recently became aware of, who's just joined the chat. But I'm just going to take this question from the chat. He's back now, but I'm going to ask the question anyway from the chat, which is, Josh, what are your thoughts on the Kimmich links?
Yes. I'm actually well.
We got Liam in the chat somewhere. Who
Liam said, because I was watching Liam today. He's saying he's going to sign a new contract, most likely with Bayern Munich. But if he was to come available,
could have warned me. I'd have sat down, Josh. I'm shocked and surprised that was what was happening.
If we're speaking like hypothetically, then listen, I'm taking Kimmich in a heartbeat. I'll be honest with you. I understand the wages could be like a big factor with it, but honestly, like he's got that experience there. Really, that's not. I mean, the guy. I don't know if this manager will use him as a right back, but because we've seen him do it at Party, etc. But he can, midfielder, can play right back. He's played it quite a few times. But I think overall, I mean, he's got that leadership. He's, look how many trophies won at Bayern Munich as well. He's got that winning mentality. Overall, as a player as well, I think he's a really decent player. And if you're talking about a free transfer, I'll take it in a heartbeat. An extra midfielder in, alongside Mendy. Yeah. It's just the wages for me. Like if he wants like 300 grand a week, which is a reported wages, for me, that's just too much. Like
I did
let's
the
give that to Saliba.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you'll need to go that high for Saliba. I did the maths on it, so at 320 grand a week. Now, does that include bonuses and that sort of stuff? Because quite often I find that with some clubs, and Arsenal one, you get reported this is his wage. It's like, well, you've chucked in all the bonuses there, but at other clubs, it's like, well, he's only been paid 110,000 a week. Well, you've left out his bonuses and stuff. I do wish there was some consistent reporting around this, but it roughly works out 320 a week for him. And I think that you're right, Josh, that's a reservation, but he's a Mikel Arteta player. He's disciplined, he's technically good, he's a leader, he's strong, he's versatile. I mean, he ticks all the boxes. the concern would be the wages. Not now, but if he signs sort of 3-4 year deal, is those last couple of years of that deal or that money. It's probably, but I think and it doesn't sound like he's coming. And honestly, I've not even bothered doing a video on it because I just don't think it's going to happen. He's a Party upgrade, right? And Rory asked a question earlier. I actually wouldn't extend Thomas Partey's contract. I actually genuinely wouldn't. But
not even a year with a year option.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I think we could.
He's going to be 32. Yeah, you're right.
I think it's more the fact that he's going to be replaced in the summer, right, as a starter. And I think Thomas Partey is a player that you only see the best of when he plays every week. And I don't.
So we've been told he's going to be replaced.
Well, if you look at him when he comes in and out of the squad, right, he's never, or when there's been a significant break and he hasn't played, he takes ages to get back up to speed. So I think, I mean, you're right. So we've not, but I'd be surprised if we're going to lose at least one midfielder in the summer, at least one centre midfielder going to come in, So I'm okay with Thomas Partey being moved on. I'm not going to scream and shout if he does sign a new deal, but I don't know what you think, Rory, because you asked a question earlier. But
yeah, I was going to say, with this Kimmich situation, right? I would take him, but I wouldn't be like as excited as most people would do if they signed Joshua Kimmich. Like the Joshua Kimmich for today, like as of today, Joshua Kimmich. How old is he now? Is he like 30?
30.
So he's about. So he's going into his prime, right? I just think
he's at the back end of his prime. I would say he's still in it, but only just.
Yeah, although he's pretty much going to be available unless if he signs a new contract with Bayern Munich. I kind of want to look at the bigger picture and wonder, right, why are Bayern fans happy to let him go? And why are Arsenal involved? You know what I mean? You see where I'm going with this? And I think when Dom says he's a leader, I think he does have a bit of leadership about him, but I think his ego does get the better of him.
I think that's true.
Why is it taking so long for him to get the contract situation sorted? So look, I would take him, but I can't lie, I don't see this as an upgrade to Thomas Partey, in my opinion. I reckon Thomas Partey on his day.
There's not that many upgrades for Thomas Partey out there.
That's the problem.
I think
honestly, don't be surprised if Joshua Kimmich does come in on a free transfer, he gets shipped off in a year's time because of his ego. Because Mikel Arteta will not like that. He doesn't like big egos.
He's not going to come in, and I'll tell you why. The reason he's being linked is because it's Vlahovic all over again, right? But I think here's the reason I think he would be an upgrade on Thomas Partey, which is I think he's slightly more careful in possession, but can still do those sort of splitting passes.
Really?
Yeah, Thomas Partey gives the ball away quite a lot when you look at him.
Yeah, but in transition,
I think in transition, he's as capable of playing those balls as Partey is. I think Partey probably plays them more often, which is partly why he gives the ball away more often. But he's got better concentration for me, Kimmich. But maybe that's because I don't see him every week. Liam would be able to tell me better than I could. But I don't see him giving the ball away as often as Thomas Partey. But I think he's also probably slightly more reliable from an injury perspective, although Partey has, and touch everything right now because he can't take any more injury, has been quite good on that front this season. But
he'll play 50 games. He'll play 50 games for us this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say this now.
That's a lot.
Yeah, but it's the first time, which is my point, which is why it's touch everything that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say this now, right?
Absolutely.
If we get both Zubimendi and Kimmich, then I think I'll be happy with that. But if I had to choose one out of the two, I'm picking Zubimendi.
Me too.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, definitely. Actually, Zubimendi. Yeah, but no. You think about it. We get both of them. You got Kimmich, Zubimendi. You got Rice in there as well. You got Odegaard in there, and then obviously Jorginho will be going. Partey will have to go as well because this guy is just not going to.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Partey and Jorginho going if it meant bringing in
Zubimendi.
But if we were going to replace one of the two, then that's where I worry. And I think Zubimendi overall is a better. I'd say with Kimmich, right, he's got better self-awareness than Zubimendi. I think I do worry when it comes to, the look over the shoulder with Zubimendi. His awareness isn't great, but when it comes to breaking the lines and controlling a midfield, I think Zubamendi ticks all them boxes. I can't lie. Hence, I think it's better investing that money into someone a bit younger rather than Kimmich, who, like, let's be honest, 5 years ago, brilliant signing. But if we're going to get him on a free, I think it'll be a good signing, but it's not a signing which I go, yeah.
Zubamendi crucially is younger, but also experienced, as opposed to just like raw.
Yeah.
I think the only problem you'd have if you did Zubamendi and Kimmich would be you've got 4 very solid players that aren't necessarily, for want of a better word, game winners. You're gonna get that control that Arteta wants, and I think that's important for sustaining over a long season, over a number of games, is controlling games, because you're sort of managing the minutes on the pitch to some extent, because you're not playing quite so high tempo. But if you're chasing a game, where's your option coming into central midfield that kind of excites and sort of helps you pick it up? That would be the only option there, because your 4 sort of 6/8s are Moreno, Zubamendi, Kimmich, and Rice in that scenario. I think I would probably want. I don't think Kimmich is going to happen anyway, but I'd probably almost have a Naipan. I mean, he's a bit young. I can't think of a better example right now. I'm too tired. But the 18-year-old Norwegian, someone's just got that little bit of spark from midfield. Now, you could do Wanyeri there if you're chasing a game. But you know what I mean. A player like that, I think, would be the ideal sort of. You want a Zubamendi or a Kimmich, and you want slightly more attacking as your other midfielder coming in if you're bringing in 2 to replace Jorginho and Moreno. But I like I say, I've never thought Kimmich is going to sign. It would stun me if he does.
But again, like the question beckons, like, why do we pay £100 million for Declan Rice to not play as the 6? What have you bought him for then?
Yeah,
If you're prioritising 2 6s, I mean, I swear he's been looking at more 6s as well. Like, since he signed Declan Rice, he has looked.
I was just going to ask you guys that question. Like, what was the point of signing Declan Rice?
Yeah,
for all that money to play him in the 8. Like, why are we getting, like, you'd think we'd be looking at 8s. You know,
I mean, you know what we should do?
What would you guys think? I mean, I've read a little bit about this too online. What would you think about Odegaard in the 8 and going and getting somebody in the 10?
Or just play Wanyeri in that position and sign someone else.
You still need a backup.
Yeah. For me, I'd go either Cunha or Morgan Rogers.
I'm not touching Cunha.
Why not?
Really?
Yeah, I just think he's having a good season. I think he's a good player, but I just twice this season now he's lost complete control of his temper, and that really genuinely worries me.
Well, then we're not going to touch.
I don't know. Maybe it's something to do with the team.
But I think it's sensible not to, right?
I don't know.
We definitely won't get him.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the team he's in and the fact he is, I'd say, far too good to play for Wolves. I mean, if he's coming to a team like Arsenal, I think his ego would, I don't know, would it sort of perish a little bit? I don't know, but I wouldn't put it.
You'd have to hope so. You know,
but
I can understand
because of Wolves. Like, I don't know, he shouldn't be fighting relegation with Wolves. He should be playing for a top six club at least, or one of the top 6 clubs in Europe in the top 5 leagues. So
I agree with you on the talent wise, but it worries me that he has lost, and I mean completely lost his temper. Like, properly twice, not once, twice. And when you know that you're leaving Wolves this year, and you know you've got big clubs looking after you, and you know that generally speaking, big clubs are not going to tolerate that. To do it once, okay, it can happen. Twice, that starts to worry me. And I don't know going back further in the season if he's done it before, but that is a genuine concern I would have of him. And if I was signing him, I'd want a damn good explanation as to what the hell's going on. But that would genuinely worry me.
Yeah,
would you rather
I wouldn't stand for that. No way.
That would you rather take Tony?
Go on.
Would you rather take Tony or Cunha?
Tony.
Yeah, Tony. Obviously, Cunha's not really an out-and-out striker, Tony is.
No,
Cunha's
I'm
more
just
of an
talking about their
attacking midfielder.
attitudes.
Can I go with neither? I
I'd
wouldn't.
love-
I wouldn't
I
take
would love
either.
to see.
I mean, I think I can't remember what I did. I worked it out. If you took out, and obviously penalties count, but I think Tony had something like 1 in 7 if you take out his penalty goals at Brentford. Like, it ain't great. And I know Brentford are, a middle table side, so you'd expect lower numbers, but it's not as great as you sort of think. And I think Arsenal can do better than both. I mean, if you ask me who I'd have taken in the January window, yeah, probably either, right? Because I think we kind of needed to rip up our usual rules, which have stood us in good stead, generally speaking, because needs must, and that's what makes it so frustrating. January, like genuinely, I share the pain and frustration about January. I mean, I reckon we had 50 million. That's been backed up by several journalists since. That's why we bid 45 million for Watkins, but also partly because Villa were looking to sell him to us rather than the other way around. So you do go low, but we couldn't have gone that much higher for Watkins. But you just have to break up your rule book slightly. So would I have taken Tony had he been available, for instance, in January, or Cunha? Yeah, I probably would, but under normal circumstances, I wouldn't take either. Which might not be a popular opinion, but
Well, who would you be besides? Let's say the Isaac's off the table, right? Or summer signings. Who do you guys want?
I was going to say this summer or January.
Who do you want as a striker, and who do you want as a left wing? If we go out and
we can't get Isak or anyone like that, or Gyökeres.
If we can't get, let's say, Isak's off the table. We're not going to go after Gyökeres.
It's a good question.
I know you're saying as well. I know you're saying.
We would have already gone after.
I'd go two strikers. I'd go Jonathan David on the 3.
Me too.
Big up Dom. Yeah.
Me too.
Dom,
you've talked me into it. I always said no fucking way. He's not good enough to play. But I watched him.
Well. I'll go Ivan as well.
Ivan Toney, you'd go after?
And Jonathan David, both of them.
Yeah.
If we can't
I'm going for 3, and I'm going for 3 because I'm going to make a sale if that's all right to cheat on your gamekeeper.
Hey,
but I need a minute on the third one.
But left wing, who would you want to bring in left wing? Like, I know we were saying, like we say Nico Williams.
Rory, do you want to go next? Or I just need a second.
On the left as well.
Striker?
And a left wing.
Okay, so for striker would be, well, my number one priority would be Isak. He's been my number one priority for years now.
But he's off the table.
Okay, he's off the table. I'd say, obviously, Gyökeres. Is he off the table as well?
I think he's off the table because I think we would have signed him if we were going.
Hang on. One second. I don't think Gyökeres is off the table, right? Because I think in the summer there were genuine question marks about could he do it 2 seasons running, right? He's answered those questions. But you then can't trigger his release clause because he's too expensive to fit under FFP because he's a one hit at the release clause. So I think Gyökeres is an option this summer, actually.
We go on. Do you think he'll be 80? Do you think we'd have to pay his full release clause?
I think, isn't it 70? Yeah, but it's Euro, so it'd be about 65, 67 because I think his release clause is just below 80. So I think it's about £65 million.
Yeah.
So you'd get...
I'd say... Okay, Jonathan David is one of them on a 3. I think that's the no-brainer.
I've nailed you all on that one.
Don't cook with that one.
Yeah.
I had to get rid of him in the back of my jersey next year. I'm going to get David on the back of it.
Who else? That's a difficult one because the thing is, right, Tony's not happening because you're not going to prize him away from Saudi.
Right.
Why?
So,
why not?
But you can't, though. Look at the money
he's paid about
over
300 million a year.
Yeah, but if Arsenal came in for you don't think that'll convince him? It's Arsenal.
Yeah, but the money is already there in Saudi. So are we willing to really pay his wages?
Now, let's take Tony off the table.
Fine, take Tony off the table then.
Fine, take Tony off the table.
Yeah, because we would have to sell like Havertz and
Victor Osimhen,
Havertz and James Jones, won't we? That's not happening. Because look at the wage bill for our current players at the moment and look how much money they're earning. So I don't think Tony's happening. You know what? I'd still take Watkins right now. I really would.
Oh,
I think in
Watkins.
this Arsenal team, he would be.
They're not going to get it, but we had our chance.
Yeah, we did, but I'd still take him. And then the last one, I mentioned him in your last podcast, but I'll take Hugo Ekitike from Frankfurt. I think he's a quality striker. I've watched Frankfurt quite a bit this season, and he's done really well. He's scored like 15 plus goals so far this season. And if he was going to come in, I think he will bring similar vibes to when Gabriel Jesus first signed. So I think it'll be a quality signing for Arsenal if he was going to come in. He's pretty much the perfect striker for Arteta, and it's exactly what he wants. So I'll take him.
And how much could we get him for?
I don't know, about 40 to 50 million.
So we'd be saving money if we didn't go after Sesko.
Yeah. I mean, with Sesko, right? I think right now he's actually not playing too bad. But that's...
No, he's, 10 goals?
Yeah, I mean, but like that's a signing that we probably should have made 2 seasons ago when we were fighting for top 4. Like that's good enough to get Champions League football.
Who's this?
Who's that, Rory? Sorry?
Sesko.
Oh,
Sesko.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if we had the opportunity to get him 2 seasons ago when we were in the when we were fighting for the Champions League, then it would make a whole lot of sense. But
I don't want to wait 2 years.
Yeah, like right now, are we in the room? Are we in the right place to be, bringing in players that are raw? Not really. I'm not saying. I mean, he could come in and rip up the whole. And I think you know what? In a couple years' time, he could rip up the Premier League if he was going to come to the Premier League, obviously, or the Bundesliga, wherever he goes. But right now, I don't know if he's good enough to lead us to a Premier League title, but that's just me.
He does have 17 goals in 34 games for whatever they're called this season, not Bayern Munich. I'm having a moment. I can't remember what he plays for. Leipzig, thank you. I was having a moment. I could not remember his name.
Fine, man.
And there would be something quite funny about Jurgen Klopp selling him to Arsenal. But shall I do my 3?
Go on.
So
Jonathan David.
I'm selling Trossard, which is why I'm doing 3, and Jonathan David comes in on a 3 to replace Trossard.
Okay.
Because I think he can play on the left, he can play at number 9, he can play at number 10, and he can play them really effectively.
Yeah.
I did a whole video on him. He's a good presser. He's got a good pass. He's an intelligent player. Picks up nice little spaces. Interchange as well. I think he is a perfect Trossard replacement and 5 years younger. So that I've sold you all that to convince you of something. I think
is Dom lagging or is it just me? Is Dom lagging? Dom's completely...
Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
He's completely...
No,
He's completely gone.
You're the least one of us.
Can you hear me now?
Lagging. But you're lagging.
Wi-Fi fund. McDonald's Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Yeah, we're all good. Yeah. So Jonathan David, right?
Yeah,
that also gives you extra money.
Josh, it's been so long since it's.
Yeah, so that leaves me 2
so
more,
long
right?
since we've heard Frozen.
I'll just let it go, mate. It's the only song I know from Frozen.
No, remember when Josh's stream would just freeze?
Yeah.
I thought you meant the Disney movie because we got little girls.
Oh yeah, I know it by heart.
And just let it go. Just let it go. So yeah, that leaves me 2 more, right? I think the striker, is one of 2. I think it's either got to be Gyökeres, who's 27, 28, something like that. Is he 27, Gyökeres, at 65 million, or the Šeško, right?
Come on, like Ekitike,
you can get anybody.
Ekitike, firstly, is 22 years of age, and has scored 18 goals so far this season. I'm saying he would suit Arsenal better than a Sesko.
I haven't seen so
and the
much.
games I've watched with Frankfurt, trust me, he's a baller. He's a better baller than Sesko.
I was going to say
I have watched the Bundesliga. Trust me.
I trust you, and I haven't seen him, so I will check him out a bit more. But I think it's probably one of those two. I think it depends on what you're doing elsewhere, right? Because Šeško is slightly cheaper. Gyökeres is your player for now, but I think it's one of those two. And then I think my other one is, I think I'd probably go Semedo from Bournemouth. Now, he's more of a right winger than a left winger, but he can play on the left. Would probably be it. I'm not against Nico Williams. I think he's had a down season, but he would be the other option. And I think they're both really good options. But I think if you've got Jonathan David coming in to play on the left with Martinelli, I think you can bring Semedo in on the right. And that gives you plenty of cover across that line. And, Saka and Semedo can go out to the left. Martinelli can go out to the right if necessary. So I think that kind of works quite nicely. I was sort of thinking the other day about what would sort of a dream window look like. And I think it is those three forwards. I think it's Zubimendi and a midfielder, another midfielder somewhere in the sort of £50 million mark range. But if you do that, it probably has to be Šeško rather than Gyökeres to make the numbers work. And then someone like Diamonde or Antonio Silva as a centre-back coming in. And then I think Juan Garcia is going to be the goalkeeper we sign from Espanyol for about 20 million. But that all starts to tot up, right? Which is why it probably has to be Šeško to make it work financially. But Jonathan David, as I say, he goes a long way. Not only does he give you that squad option, he's a free as well.
And he's
allows you to go
24,
25, yeah.
24, 25.
So it's something like that, I think I do. But I think you sort of have to look at it in the round of what you do across the piece, right, to make the numbers add up before you make those final decisions. Because there will be a budget and we'll have to stick to it.
Yeah.
Also, Tom, don't you launch strikers at us when my man would take bloody Callum Wilson? Brother.
Sorry, Tom. I've got a side with
Kinder eggs, bro.
I've got a side with Rory on this one. Who hasn't
for a second?
Who hasn't named their sort of one team? Is it you, Cooper, that hasn't done it? I lost track.
Yeah, who'd be yours, Cooper?
I'd want this guy.
Gyökeres,
first of all. I'd
want Gyökeres. We've already got him, bro. We've already got him.
I thought he was being Batman.
I was.
Yeah, we've already got Gabriel, isn't it?
That's right. No, I would love to get Gyökeres up front. I would. And I would take Jonathan David in a heartbeat on a free.
Yeah.
I'd pay for Jonathan David. I mean, obviously, you don't have to, but
no, I know. All right, keep talking about Jonathan David.
No, I was just going to say I'd pay for him. I mean, it just suddenly sort of occurred to me like we'd be getting on a free. Like when you said it, I'm like, I've said it a couple of times, but when someone else says it, you're like, wow, yeah, it would be a free.
Right.
But yeah, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no, left wing. I don't know. I mean, I gotta. Obviously, I don't watch as much football as you guys do. It's just not available here to get every. I'd have to get every streaming service under the sun to watch the German league and the Premier League, and half the games in the Premier League I don't get, and it's just crazy over here. But I do get all of Serie A. I can watch the Italian league, but I would like to see us seriously. Finally, I don't want to see names like Marino. I don't want to see names like Calafiore. I don't want to see names like, I think Trossard was a good signing 3 years ago. I think he's done his time. I don't know whether to get rid of Martinelli or to keep Trossard or to get rid of both of them or to just keep Martinelli, on the left as a back. But it's like, he drives me crazy. I mean, when is he going to learn to pick his head up? Pick your head up. Or try him up front as a striker.
Yeah, I mean, I keep saying he's not a systematic winger.
He's not.
He's someone that you want down the touchline with the shackles off.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think
like
he
it was 2
misses
seasons ago when he scored 15 goals.
right, but he had Xhaka there who was, he passed it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that position really needs to be examined. You know what I mean, going forward, because I think for so many years it's like all of our attacks been on the right. Has been for. There's nothing. You stop our right side. Nothing is coming in the left. And for that 1 year, where they pretty much had that solid. You had Xhaka and Martinelli, and I forgot who was the left back. Was it Tierney? Was the left back?
Zinchenko.
Zinchenko. I'm sorry.
Much maligned Zinchenko.
Yeah.
But if he could play at 8, let him have the rest of the year to do it. There's no reason for us not to start swapping people around now. I mean, I understand the Champions League, you want to keep on. As long as we finish in the top 4, we finish in the top 4. But, and I hate to say this, but it's like every game I get excited. Like I was like this morning, I was like, is it Tuesday? I was like, oh shit, it's Monday. So Arsenal's not playing today. But then I get all excited. And then I think about the lineup. And we were talking, Josh, you were on before talking about, the score line and stuff like that. But it's like, it's so hard to pick a score line when it's like, where are our goals going to come from? We're not even getting them off of set pieces.
Yeah. That's the problem, ain't it?
I mean, out of Martinelli and Trossard, I would rather I would rather keep Martinelli than Trossard because I think he's got better potential.
Absolutely.
Just before you do move on, Josh, I know
you guys, Granit Xhaka leaving had nothing to do with Martinelli's downfall. Do you believe that?
I think it did.
Yeah,
absolutely. He absolutely had something to do with his downfall.
I think it did and it didn't. I think it did because it was a reliable player that played in there that understood the role. I think last season it didn't work with Havertz, and then Rice wasn't quite that right player. But I also think, but I also think
because we never. But people could say all they want to about Granit Xhaka, but you're right. You put Kai there, he fell off.
Exactly, and that's why
you put Moreno there, he fell off. So I don't know why you're saying that. Xhaka leaving had nothing to do with Martinelli's downfall. It's had everything to do with it.
I don't think it totally did, right? So I think that's part of it. I also actually think Martinelli actually does look better on the wing when Moreno is the 8, because I think he's quite similar to Granit Xhaka. And I think Moreno will be a squad player. He's never going to be spectacular, but I don't think he's a duffer. Everyone says he is. He's just going to be a 6 out of 10 player, right? But I think to Tom's point where I don't agree it had nothing to do with it, but I think what I would say is also Martinelli's excellent season 2 years ago came when teams didn't kind of fear Arsenal to the same extent. They played higher, there was more space, and that's what Martinelli thrives on. I think in the last 2 years, teams have played a low block against us more, and Martinelli isn't that. This is doing him a disservice slightly. I don't quite mean this, but he's not that intelligent player that will unlock things in a tight space. And therefore, I don't think, even if you put Xhaka back next to him, I don't think you see the Martinelli of 2 years ago, simply because he's playing in a tighter space that isn't his natural game. So I keep Martinelli around for those games where there is more space that he can unlock, not necessarily these ones.
Look what Erosh just said. Martinelli never had to play defense when Xhaka was there. That's true.
That's as well.
I think that is true. I think that is true as well.
That's my point. So how can you say that Xhaka leaving had nothing to do with this?
I agree. I think it doesn't. Yeah, my point is, I don't think it was the total reason for his fall off. I think there is absolute truth to Xhaka being integral, right, to Martinelli. But there is also the other side, which is, I think, where Tom has somewhat of a point, but I don't fully agree with him. Does that make sense? I think it's both.
But the void left. Look, I was never a big Xhaka fan, but the void left by Xhaka, we still feel it today, 2 years later.
Oh, I agree. I agree entirely. But I don't think that's the whole story behind Martinelli. I think it's a significant part of it, but not the whole story.
Martinelli might have got, he doesn't.
Can I just end on this, by the way? You know, we were on to strikers earlier, and we named our 3 strikers that we'll go for. Who do you think Arsenal will go after in the summer?
Sesko.
Probably Sesko.
Sesko. You know what?
But we already know.
The thing is, right, I'm not even thinking Sesko. I'm thinking a certain someone beginning with a D, ending with a Z.
Darwin Núñez. I said the same thing as well.
I'm thinking of him, you know.
Because he'll be available.
You know. Oh, no.
I quit at that point.
Yeah, I was reading
would you guys
something
not
about
take
Vlahovic.
No.
I was reading something
Come
about
on,
Vlahovic.
Josh.
Would you guys not take
Arsenal
Darwin
were-
Núñez?
You, try and say it with a straight face.
I
Josh.
Josh,
I
stop
dare
playing
you.
around,
I
bro.
get your reactions.
Stop playing around, bro.
It was like the reactions are class.
You couldn't even. Once I clocked your face, I was like, oh, come on.
I loved it.
For a second, I was like, you can't be serious. And then I looked at you and went, it's good in more than the bloody Joker.
You know what? The goal
don't you
will be.
can I ask you a question? But don't you think, like,
signing, won't it?
Can I ask you a question? But don't you think, like, since we've been missing Xhaka, like, our whole style of our game has changed? It's not as fast. It's not as.
I think
it's slowed way down.
Yeah.
I think that was deliberate, though, right? So if you look at Arsenal, why they fell off 2 years ago, right, in that title race, there were 2 reasons. One, the squad wasn't in place to cope with the injuries to Saliba and Tomiyasu at the back, and we defensively fell apart. Was that the season before? Can't remember.
No,
that was the season before. That was the season before. Apologies. But the main
that was
the main
Rob
point
Holding.
The main point I was going to make is that Arsenal basically ran out of gas, right? Because playing that way over the length of the season is unsustainable. Liverpool did it last year, exactly the same. Played in that frenetic style, couldn't keep it up, fell off at the end of the seseason. So I think it was a deliberate choice to slow down.
Because he didn't have the squad?
No, because you'd need a squad of 22 top players, and that just doesn't exist because it's unaffordable. And also players, when they're at that top level, want to play the majority of minutes. It's why you sort of have a pecking order, if you like. You want sort of 15, 16 starters and then sort of another 6 or so players that know where they are in the squad. But there are too many games to play that style every single game. It's why Liverpool fell away and it's why Arsenal fell away. And I think it was a deliberate choice to slow down, to try and manage the minutes better in the squad because you've got more control. It's partly why City, I think, win the league so much. Obviously, they've got very, very good players, but they control the life out of the game and they come off the pitch like barely having break and sweat. It's why Haaland can play every single minute and make it look like he's barely played because they don't have to do a lot because they control the game. And I think that was a deliberate point. But it's dull to watch. Would I rather watch Liverpool under Klopp or Pep Guardiola's Man City? I'd much rather watch Liverpool. Much more fun. Yeah, because it's much more fun to watch, but I don't think it's sustainable. I really genuinely don't. You know, you're talking about 50, 60 games. You can't play that speed all the time.
Yeah, definitely. Guys, let's quickly move on to the big game tomorrow against PSV. Champions League first leg, round of 16 knockouts, of course. Going away to PSV. Going to be a very tough game, man. Very tough game, obviously. They're unbeaten at home all season, man, in the Champions League as well. They've got a very good home record, so we've got to go there. Going to be hostile, as it always is in Champions League, these Champions League nights. So, yeah, it's important that I think we get a decent result. I mean, of course, we should go there to play for a win, because I think against Porto, we didn't really do that. If you guys remember that first leg, and we got caught out for it. They hit us on that last-minute goal, and that was. And I know we turned it around in the end, but I just think, listen. I mean, a draw would be all right because we got the second leg at the Emirates. I think that benefits us a lot. I think they've got to go for it more, PSV, because they know this is going to be their best chance in the first leg to beat Arsenal. I think we're really good at the Emirates at home, especially in Champions League as well. I don't think we've conceded a goal in Champions League at Emirates, have we? In all the games we played. So, yeah, we got a good record there. So, but, yeah, it's going to be interesting, man, in terms of what actually happens tomorrow. But, yeah, I think they got a very good attack. Their defense apparently is their weakest point, which ain't great for us because our attack really has not firing, is it?
It's going to be a thriller, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they got the same manager that we played when you guys remember last season, because we played them quite a bit, PSV. The 4-0 game at the Emirates, where this manager he loves to play attacking football, and they did it at the Emirates, so it really benefited us because the game was so open and you know, obviously we just completely battered them, didn't we, in the Emirates? And then that second game was a dead rubble, wasn't it? Both teams already went through. I think Eddie Nketiah scored for us, so that tells you how much of a dead game it was. To be honest, I know my boy. I know Tom's in the chat. Yeah, no, so I'm sorry about that, bro. But no, honestly, this game, look, this is where it matters now. At the end of the day, this is knockout stage football, and we've not got a good record when it comes to knockout stage, especially under this manager as well. For being real with it, I look at Europa Leagues and even the Champions League last season as well. Great to get past Porto, but when Bayern Munich, obviously, we know what happened there. So I think we need to improve this. But I'm saying we draw tomorrow, personally, guys. But I'll come with you. I'll start with you, Cooper, first. Tomorrow's game against PSV. What do you think will happen, man? And how are you feeling for it as well?
I'm excited because I want to watch Arsenal play, but it pains me to go against Arsenal. Like I can't stand it, but I think it's going to be a long match. I think it's going to be a long evening. And
I'm just laughing because you said I love watching Arsenal. At which point, all I could hear in the background was, "Oh, silly." With perfect timing.
But hey, I gotta run, you guys. Thank you.
Nah, bless up Cooper, man, every single time, bro.
Thanks, guys.
Good to see you again, mate.
Take care, Cooper, bro.
Bye-bye.
I'll speak to you tomorrow, yeah? See you tomorrow, bro. Later, my guy. There we go. Quick, nice and quick there from Cooper. We go Dom next. Dom, how you feeling for tomorrow's game, mate?
I mean, might need a cup of tea or something to keep myself awake, right? I mean, it's going to be attritional, right? I mean, any side when you're missing your top three, you're not going to attack to the same level, right? So Arsenal are going to be dull to watch. Let's be totally honest about that. I think you're absolutely right. This is a game I know it sounds daft, but you want to stay in the tie, and then whoever you play over a two-legged game, you need to make sure you're in the tie after it. And we should be beating PSV, right? And I think anywhere near a fully fit squad, and you would expect to win the game. We're not in that well, but even then, I would have said the same, that you just don't lose that first leg and keep yourself in that tie, because that's how you get through knockout football. But I'm not optimistic for tomorrow. I think their threats going forward will be their front three: De Jong, Bergwijn, and Bakayoko. But with the quality in our defence, we should be more than able to handle that, and certainly not concede more than one. I think anything more than that would be a disappointment. The concern is, how do you score the goals going forward?
Yeah.
And I think, I mentioned it earlier, like one of my big criticism of Ange Postecoglou at Spurs this season is you've got a load of injuries, and that is true, but you've not really done anything differently. And I think Arteta does need to start looking at doing things differently. He did things differently against Leicester, and it worked. And you get lucky, right? Because you're throwing mud at a wall. But I think he might need to look at doing things differently. I think he's going to start 4-3-3, but I think he probably, if that's not working, he needs to do something differently. And there's a risk in that, but that probably means a 3-5-2 or something, that sort of thing, or two sort of number 10s or something like that. I think we need to do something differently. I think if Arsenal score, the relief and the confidence might flow through the players slightly, and you might get a second, but my gut feel is it's 1-1, and it will probably be a set piece or a cross into the box. And it's probably why I start Moreno, because their weakness is aerially in the air. And I don't think Moreno's necessarily worked up front, but again, he's the most similar to Havertz in terms of physical stuff. And I think that tomorrow is going to be important. And I think it's just one of these games you just go, just stay in the tie. And if you stay in the tie and you come home 1-1 or 1-0 to us, then, something like that, I think you win the second leg comfortably.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. Like, I know it sounds daft, but I'm not that bothered about the score tomorrow as long as we're in the tie. Ideally, shit first leg, but that's not going to happen. We're not going to go there and score 3. Like, I'll be stunned if that happens.
Yeah.
It'll be 1-1 is my prediction. I think.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that's what I said earlier, because otherwise I'm not consistent.
I'll shave my eyebrows if we score 3 goals.
You'll do what?
I'll shave my eyebrows
Oh, yeah. The last person that said that ended up having to do it.
Was it Lee, wasn't it? From
It was
Guna
Lee.
Oh,
Hopefully it happens now, man.
Yeah.
which game was it?
Let's clip it. Clip
It was
Yeah.
it was a Jesus hat trick against Crystal Palace, and he said Nketiah wouldn't score, and Nketiah did.
We're at 1 hour 16, guys. Clip this right now, please, man. And we'll come back to this maybe next week. We have to do it live on podcast. Shave it all off, people. But
should we see if Prosperity's available to sort of, do the build up? Recreate it.
But Rory, what are you saying for tomorrow's game, bro?
Oh, bro, I'm not confident for tomorrow. I can't lie. With the current circumstances and the way we're attacking at the moment, I just have no real hope going into tomorrow. But obviously,
on the plus side, Rory, it's the hope that kills you. So
Yeah. I mean, I did say on my match reaction, I just focus on myself at the moment because Arsenal are just draining the life out of me. And this weekend has done me good. So, look, this game is huge and we need the players to step up to the plate like they want it, because this is our only opportunity to actually win something this season, because the Premier League's out of reach. We're out of both domestic competitions. So the Champions League is all we've got to fight for. Obviously, PSV, as you said, Josh, that they're actually pretty decent at home. But I mentioned this before, right? Like every time we do go to a tough place or a team that haven't necessarily lost all season at home, we've actually done well to overcome that.
You do well, yeah.
Yeah, like against Sporting, Slavia Prague in our worst era in lockdown. We managed to beat them 4-0 despite them not losing a game in like 1 or 2 years. So it can be done. I think a draw would be a good result. But at the same time, I don't see us scoring, but I don't see us conceding. So I think in terms of the lineup, I would like to see Arteta change the formation to 3 at the back. I mean, we've got more than enough defenders to play 3 at the back, so it baffles me to think why we've not tried 3 at the back. I mean, since we won the FA Cup, we've not seen a sight of it. So I don't understand why we've not tried 3 at the back. You go Saliba, Gabriel, and Calafiori as the back 3, and then I'd probably play Ben White as the right wing back, and then Lewis Skelly as the left wing back, Partey Rice as double pivot, and then I'd go Erdegaard in like that central role, and then Trossard and Waneri through the middle. Just no vocal point. Just throw Marino off the bench if you need him to, because I think that's what he is, you know. And I'm surprised Arteta's not tried it.
I wonder. I was just thinking on this as you were talking there, Rory. I wonder if Ben White's fitness does make him think more seriously about 3 at the back, because I don't think Timber's a wing back, right?
No.
But Ben White is very capable of doing it because he overlaps quite a lot. And I wonder 100%. If that changes the. I don't think that's the reason, by the way. I think the reason is because he's a 4-3-3 man. And that's what we're going to play. Although he has changed formation a few times in games, right?
Yeah.
So it's it's not like he's against it in game. We just never started with it.
Yeah.
But I wonder if Ben White's return might make him think about that. I don't know. I'm spitballing here. None of us know, right? But just that thought sort of occurred to me as I was talking. Although the reason I laugh, by the way, is because Manchester United are apparently very confident of signing Martin Zubimendi in the summer.
Oh God, if they get him.
I mean, I mean, it comes from Give Me Sport, so I'm not sure it's the most reliable news outlet in the world, but that's what made me smile while Rory was talking.
Yeah.
So someone find Fabrizio or Ornstein if that happens.
Real talk.
But yeah, like with the formation, I wouldn't necessarily play 3-4-3, but remember like the formation we played under Emery towards the end of his first season? It was almost like a 3-4-1-2.
I wonder if you go Christmas tree, sort of 3 or 5, depending on how you want to sort of call it. 2 6s, 2 10s, and a 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was almost like 2 up front, and then I think it was Ozil, Aubameyang, Lacazette at the time. I don't know, because at the time I was judging the formations off Safari, you know what I'm saying, or One Football. So it might have been a 3-4-3 at the time, but from what I saw in like One Football, Safari, it was almost set up like a 3-4-1-2, and that's something that I would go for, and then bring Marino off the bench, and then you've got more firepower off the bench, really. Like you've got not Trossard, you've got obviously Sterling, another outlet to throw on as well, and Marino in case you want to change the dynamics of the game. But like if we go 1-0 down, it's pretty much tight over because I don't see us scoring in the second leg.
We should have. It's after the international break, though. The second leg, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we could.
It's the 12th.
I mean,
Is it? I'm not. I don't know. I'm asking.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it
the 12th of March. Yeah.
yeah, I've heard reports that we could have Saka Martinelli back for the second leg.
What?
Obviously,
A week after we play Man United.
after the international break.
Yeah, but the second leg's not before international break, isn't it?
Huh?
The second leg's 12th of March, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got 4 more games. You're right, Josh. Before the international break, the international break's later than I thought it was.
Yeah.
I'll just
You've got PSV twice, Manchester United and Chelsea. Then it's the international break.
Yeah.
Right, so confirmation that it's after the international break, the second leg.
No, before.
No,
before.
Oh, before. You said after the bloody.
No, got four games before the international break. I thought the international break was earlier, which is why I thought it was after, but it's not.
So
it's
we have PSV tomorrow, then Man United, then PSV again.
And then
Chelsea. Man United this weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
4:30 at Old Trafford.
I thought it was Chelsea, before.
No, that's the last game before the international break.
Shit,
I thought Manchester United was the last game before the international break, but it's not.
Yeah, so did I.
But so Martinelli and Saka, there's no way they're back for the second leg. Not a chance. I'll be stunned if they're back. I also think that would be beyond stupid to risk them and throw them into that game.
But even so, like, I'll be stunned if Saka actually comes back at the end of the season. Because at the moment he's ahead of schedule, ain't he? Like,
reportedly so. I think if top 4 isn't in doubt, right, and we're out of the Champions League, just rest him till the end of the season. Just keep him out. Yeah. Saka. You only come bring him back if there's something to play for. Like you need to maintain Champions League football, which is not where we want it to be this season, obviously, or you're out, or you're still in the Champions League. Otherwise, just see him till the end of the season and just sit him.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good point by Eric, by the way. He's obviously a bench option, same with Martinelli when they first come back. They're not running 90 minutes straight off. That would be insanely stupid to do that.
Yeah.
100%. But that's
the thing with Havertz, when he eventually comes back, like in pre-season, I don't expect him to play 90 minutes.
It depends on you. Pre-season, you don't tend to play 90 minutes anyway. So, by the time the season starts, you might be. But I think Havertz becomes a bench option. And do you know what? Yeah. If Kai Havertz is one of your bench, that's not bad.
But by the time he actually comes back, though, like he might be already like a bench option because he's just come back from in pre-season. So he might.
Yeah.
That's what I was just saying. Yeah. He can probably run 90 minutes, but he probably won't because he'll be a bench option. And as I say, if Havertz is a bench option, that's a pretty decent bench option, right? If Havertz is your squad player, that's, that's not bad. I'm just glad for him. I thought he was going to get 20 goals this season, which I think he would have had he stayed fit.
Yeah, he would have, man. He was 5 away, wasn't he? But guys, let's quick. So Dom, you got 1-1, right? I've got the same as you. What about you, Rory?
PSV melons, Arsenal melons. I think it's gonna be a poor draw. I think it's arguably going to be the worst 90 minutes we've ever sat through in the Champions League fixture or in Champions League knockout fixes. Oh God, it's going to be stress.
I don't know. It wasn't exactly great to watch last year away, was it? But I mean, that was a complete dead rubber, which doesn't help.
To play for, exactly. Both teams were through already.
I'll tell you what though, I'll take Kumar's point. Raheem getting the winner. I'd be well happy with that.
Oh yeah,
Raheem the
1-0
dream,
win
mate.
would be a brilliant result.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know.
But there we go. We've just J-Lo or whatever. What is that second character? Oh, he's gone. It's just me and you, mate, to wrap up the show.
Who's going to wrap up the show then? Who's
Yeah,
going
well,
to go all night?
I host some shows from time to time. I'll give it a go. So, Rory, tell us about what have you got coming up, mate?
Well, yeah, I uploaded a video earlier today, so go and check that out. Expect a match reaction tomorrow for the PSV game.
What's your video on? I mean, I've actually got it ready to watch on the train tomorrow morning.
Andre Berta. Oh,
Bertie Bassett Sweets.
You don't know how many times, you do not know how many times I said Bertie during that video, so I had to bloody redo it every fucking 5 seconds. It was so annoying.
Oh, he's back. I was wrapping up for you. I was wrapping up for you.
Appreciate it, lads. I had to. I put in the link because I'm literally going on a show right now with my brother Mike's. We're doing a Champions League full preview with a bunch of other people. So I put a link in the chat, guys. You can catch me on that one literally right now. But appreciate you, Dom, Rory, Cooper came on as well. Thank you guys for coming on. You guys want to quickly shout anything before we get out of here?
Rory, what he's saying is we're not. Rory, what he's saying is we're not good enough to stay on.
No, you're a joker, man. This guy's a joke.
We're getting bumped, mate. We're out of here. Mind you, it's nearly lights out here in Belmarsh, so
Roll call settings in a minute, Dom.
Yeah. I'm gonna get my little pick for rocks, and I'm gonna tunnel out. Don't you worry. But yeah, no, check out Rory's video. I've got it ready to watch tomorrow morning, mate. So I will listen to that on the 6:33 train to London. But yeah,
you're definitely doing my wedding speech, by the way.
With me?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what? I once did a best man speech. This is really true, and I'll be quick because Josh, you've got to go. But I literally wrote nothing, and my mate was so worried that he was like, "Have you got anything?" So I got some old schoolwork and went, "Yeah, listen, you can't see it, but this is my speech." And he accidentally implied that he thought someone, instead of saying his wife looked beautiful, he said that he thought someone else's bride had turned up by accident when he was doing his wrapping up, and everyone's like, "Ooh!" So I had to stand out. I was like, "How do you follow that?" So I started by ripping my non-speech up and just did it off the cuff, mate. It was all good. But there you go.
We're sacked then.
Yeah, don't. By the way, don't ever do that. I then, the following week at my wedding, my wife was like, "You've got notes?" So I was like, "No." And it wasn't until I stood up that I was like, "Did you not learn from last week?" But there you go.
Nah, big up, man. Big up, guys, coming on. Thanks for the chat as well, for obviously getting involved as well, for all the likes. We'll catch you guys tomorrow, of course, for match day. Until then, guys, have a good night, everyone. You can catch me on here, right, as I said earlier as well. If not, have a great night, and we'll catch you.